So JB Cycles here with another weekend update on November the 3rd. So I've been kind of delaying this video this weekend because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to say. I don't like this weakness around the election. You know, I've been talking about a possible bull market top around the election, but the election itself is too obvious. Everyone knows the election is coming, and we don't know the outcome, but whatever the outcome is, good or bad, you know, that shouldn't destroy this bull market, in my opinion. We need some kind of a surprise. Well, the outcome of the election is a surprise, but it's not the kind of surprise I'm looking for, I think. But anyway, here's my 4-week cycle and the 2-week oscillation, and it's been lately mostly we can see the 4-week cycle, like here and here, and now looks like we're making low. And you know, we have the 2-week oscillation with a low here, and you almost can't see this low. There's some kind of reaction there, but there's nothing more special about this one than that one. And if we go here, well, there's some kind of a reaction here, but you hardly can see it. And extending over here, there is something going on here, but it's not a real low, you know. At the moment, the 4-week cycle is dominant, and we are at the point where it should make a low. So I think we should look for some kind of a bounce and possibly another leg down. So zooming out, we are at the end of this very bullish part of the 3.5-year cycle, where you only focus on buying the dips, but very soon anything can happen. But normally the bull market shouldn't end abruptly already now. Normally we are now entering the topping phase, where we see more choppy sideways action. Now I did have 2 scenarios for a very early bull market high, and we saw at this first scenario top around August here in green, we almost were setting up some kind of a double top and, you know, a bear trap here. But we saw the market did kind of test this scenario. Are we in this scenario? No, we were not. But you know, yeah, there was some kind of a market reaction here, making this scenario, it looked possible. Now we are at this second scenario, possible top, and we are seeing a reaction down, so it is possible that we are in this scenario. But I should say these 2 bearish scenarios should not be the most likely outcome. Normally, as I said, we should now enter the topping phase, the next well into the winter and spring. That should be normally in the 3.5-year cycle, that should be the topping phase. So these 2 scenarios were for an unusual early top, which does happen. It has happened many times before, but it is not the most normal behavior. So it is possible we already have made a bull market high. Now we should crash down with some bad news from the US election, and then who knows what after that. But as I said, the more normal thing is, well, here I'm looking at something I made a long time ago. I drew a general scenario here in red, saying that we entered the topping phase around September, and this topping phase goes all the way into the spring. So, you know, if markets do not crash down from here, well, then we could see another top maybe around January. And if that's not the top, then we could have another top later in the spring, and then at least then we should crash down, but it could be earlier. So but at this point, I'm especially looking at this 17-week cycle, and we are making a top kind of early. I think it's a bit too early, but if markets are very bearish, you can have early tops. It is possible, but I would have preferred to see a top later in November, and that's still possible. And as we see, it has a low. Well, actually, this one has a low in early January, and then a top probably around February sometime. So we do have some bearish influence the rest of this year. Well, I was talking about this looked very similar to this top and the one before that, and I didn't think it would repeat a third time, but that's we are repeating that pattern again, and then we have triggered my primitive tool for looking for market lows. I have this purple box of around 26 trading days, putting it at the wavelet top, and it suggests we have a buying setup not this coming week but the week thereafter. That brings us to around November the 13th or something like that. So it is possible we bounce, and in best case we could make a double low, and then we should have an uptrend for several weeks. So it looks like already that we do have an ABC formation here. So it is possible we have finished this. If we have a strong bounce around the election, then we can only hope for a bottom formation, a double low, giving us a perfect buying setup for a rally into the year end, possibly. I don't think we should be careful about that, because we just saw the cycle is a bit bearish here. But we have to see now that the next week or so, if we break this moving average here in brown, well then trouble could be coming. But we have the hourly data, and we did actually get what I drew last weekend. We did get a small bounce and another move down, but now this looks like a 2-week oscillation low, and that we have started a new one, which means we could rally all this coming week. Maybe we will have something. Well, I should say, going back here, we were very overbought ahead of the election with all the uncertainty. That was a perfect selling opportunity for bulls. Get out, reduce your risk, and then now we have the inverse. It's just ahead of the election. Bears should take profits here, reduce their risk, and then we could get a wild short covering and squeeze rally bounce here into this week. But it is possible, that this bounce it won't be great. Maybe it ends already around Wednesday, and then we have another leg down, and it could be deep, So we have to see, but at this point it looks bullish for the next few days. And we are quite oversold, Looking here a bit longer term, we are quite oversold. We have been more oversold, but this is, and if we look at the length of this downtrend, you rarely get a longer downtrend here. So this is ripe for a bounce. Then we have to see how high and how long it will last. But this looks like market wants to bounce. But as I showed you from my indicator here, it says be careful, don't go all in here. You should expect maybe a double low or a lower low in a week's time or longer. So let's see, do markets crash the next 1-2 weeks, or are we making a low? If so, then then the top is not now. Well, there I lost my diagram, but anyway, see you next time.